Well, well. Look who made it through the fire and still walks like the damn flames never touched him. Yeah, I'm talking to you. You don't even realize it yet, do you? They thought they broke you. They thought they could twist the knife and walk away while you bled out quietly. But no, you were never weak. You were just kind. You were just good. You were just an angel, until they made you unleash the devil you were hiding this whole time. See, people love kind souls, until kindness starts showing boundaries. They love soft hearts, until those hearts start beating with rage. And you were the kind of person who gave people chance after chance, even when they didn't deserve half of one. You let them talk down to you. You let them lie to your face, smile while they did it. You let them disrespect you because you thought, maybe they're just hurt too. You saw the best in monsters. And what did that get you? Used, bruised, emotionally mutilated, and still you smiled. You held on. You stayed good. But even angels get tired of bleeding for people who wouldn't lift a damn finger for them. Here's the real kick in the teeth. They didn't kill you. They resurrected something far worse. For them, they woke the part of you that remembers. The version of you that doesn't forget how many times you begged to be seen. How many times you stayed silent to keep the peace. How many times you were told you're too much, when all you ever did was care too deeply. You weren't always this version, this colder, sharper, focused, this version that knows exactly how dangerous your heart becomes when it's had enough. They didn't just betray you, they reprogrammed you. You started deleting the sorries from your sentences, started cutting people off mid-excuse, started saying, I don't owe you a damn thing. That's not weakness. That's not bitterness. That's evolution. They made you feel like the villain, but they forgot. You were the hero until they wrote you out of your own story. There's a kind of pain that changes your posture. You stand different when you've had to carry betrayal on your back. You laugh different when you've cried yourself hollow. You look in the mirror different when you've watched people clap for your downfall. But the sickest part, you still hoped they'd come back and apologize. You still left the door cracked open just in case. Even after they spit on your soul, even after they turned your light into their punching bag. And then something snapped, didn't it? One day. You stopped waiting. You stopped bleeding for people who never learned to bandage their own damn wounds. That's when the angels started closing their wings, and the devil started learning to walk. Let's make one thing clear right now. You didn't go dark. You didn't lose yourself. You just learned that loving people doesn't mean letting them kill you slowly. You learned that silence is not peace, that forgiveness doesn't mean access, that being loyal to the wrong people is a form of self-destruction. They trained you, unintentionally, every time they ghosted you, every time they gossiped behind your back while smiling to your face, every time they made you feel like you were the problem for simply feeling too much. Now look at you, colder, quieter, smarter, stronger. You don't start fights. But baby, you finish them now. You're dangerous because you remember. You remember what it felt like to doubt your own worth. To sit in your room at 3 a.m. wondering what the hell you did to deserve that kind of cruelty. To apologize to people for reacting to the pain they caused. You're dangerous because you know what it feels like to crawl out of hell with your heart still beating. Not everyone survives that. You did. And now, your smile isn't soft. It's sharp. It says, Try me again. I dare you. Well, here it is. This version of you doesn't flinch, doesn't beg, doesn't explain. You speak once, you cut deep, and then you walk the hell away. They're not ready for this version. The one that doesn't pick up calls, the one that doesn't ask for closure, the one that doesn't need validation. You used to care. God, you cared so hard it almost killed you. Now, you care strategically. If they want access, they pay in respect. Now you move different, not because you're toxic, but because you learned how to read the room before you even step in it. Because you trust patterns, not apologies. Because peace isn't something you beg for anymore. It's your default, and anyone who threatens it gets cut instantly. You're not cruel. You're not heartless. You just stopped watering dead plants. You just stopped lighting yourself on fire to keep ungrateful people warm. You were an angel. They just made you realize that wings can be weapons too. And now you fly different. Now you fight different. Now, you don't ask for a seat at their table. You bring your own goddamn chair. And if they don't like it, you build your own table, set it on fire, and dance in the ashes like the devil they accidentally created. Let me know when you're ready for part 2. You stopped explaining your silence. You stopped texting first, stopped chasing clarity with people who were never confused. They were just comfortable watching you drown in your own overthinking. You used to break your own back trying to understand how they could do what they did, how they could be so cold, so effortlessly careless, how they could look you in the eye, lie through their teeth, and sleep peacefully after. And for a while, yeah, you blamed yourself. Maybe you were too emotional. Maybe you should have said less. Maybe you should have swallowed your needs again. But then came the shift. Not all at once, not dramatic, but in little moments. Micro awakenings. Like the day you read that message and didn't even feel the urge to reply. Like the night you didn't cry, you just went numb. Like the morning you looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the calm in your own face. Not peace, not yet, but something better. Detachment. And that detachment, that's the real revolution. It's not loud. It doesn't scream. It doesn't need closure. It's just done. Done explaining. Done hoping. Done giving CPR to connections that flatlined a long time ago. You got tired of being loyal to pain. Tired of performing stability for people who only loved the benefits of your light, not the cost of carrying it. You realized your softness was never the issue. It was their inability to meet it with the same depth. Because you weren't too much. They were just not enough. Not enough to stay. Not enough to be real. Not enough to hold what you brought to the table with both hands and say, I got you. They wanted you when you were easy to please, when you smiled through being overlooked, when you said it's fine, while bleeding out emotionally. But the moment you started asking for consistency, the moment you said, hey, this is hurting me, suddenly you were too intense, too sensitive, too complicated. But guess what? You're allowed to be complicated. You're allowed to want more. You're allowed to say, I'm not settling for breadcrumbs when I bring the whole damn feast. You started realizing that protecting your peace is not selfish. It's survival. It's sacred. Because that angel they took advantage of, she's still in there. He's still in there. But now, that angel has standards. That angel has boundaries carved from scar tissue. That angel doesn't flinch anymore when people threaten to leave. Because you finally understand. If they can leave you that easily, they were never really with you to begin with. And when that clicks, when it truly clicks. You stop grieving people who were only loyal to your silence. You stop romanticizing what you had to recover from. You stop watering what never grew. And yeah, you still feel things. You still love deep. That never left you. But now, you don't beg. You don't chase. You don't prove. You observe. You withdraw. You protect. And that's the most dangerous transformation of all. It's wild how quiet your world gets when you stop entertaining chaos. Like, you notice it first in the silence, right? The kind that doesn't feel lonely, just clean. No more waking up with that pit in your stomach. No more wondering if your kindness is about to get used as a doormat again. It's like your soul finally got the memo. You're not here to be everyone's emotional punching bag. And look, you still catch yourself slipping sometimes. You still get that little flicker of guilt when you say no. Still second guess walking away from people you used to pray would stay. But that guilt, that's just the ghost of who you used to be. The one who'd rather set themselves on fire than let anyone feel even a moment of discomfort. You've outgrown that version, not 'cause you stopped caring. Nah, it's because you finally realized that real love doesn't put you in a position to abandon yourself. It's weird, isn't it? You start seeing it everywhere once you wake up to it. You look back and realize half the people you were loyal to, they were just addicted to your silence, your availability, your empathy, and not in a let's heal together way. No, in a let me drain you dry while calling it love kinda way. But man, something changed in you. That moment, that breaking point. Maybe it wasn't loud. Maybe nobody even saw it happen. But something in you just switched. That little flicker of rage in your chest. It didn't burn you. It burned through you. Cleared the room. Cleared the guilt. Cleared the people who only knew how to love the version of you that kept shrinking just to make them comfortable. You don't shrink anymore. You walk in, and if they feel small next to your light, that's not your burden to carry. And yeah, people talk. They whisper about how you've changed. You're cold now. You're distant. Funny how the same people who taught you not to feel are the ones who get mad when you stop feeling for them. But whatever. Let them say what they want. They never knew the real cost of your love anyway. They never saw the nights you stayed up talking yourself out of disappearing completely. They never saw the way your hands shook while you held back everything you should have said. They just saw you standing there, still, kind, bleeding in silence. And now they can't recognize you without the open wounds, without the easy access, without the "it's okay, I understand" version of you that let them stab you twice and ask for a hug after. That version's buried beneath every tear you never let fall in front of them, beneath every apology you gave just to keep the peace, beneath every "I'm fine" that you choked on just to hold it all together. And what rose in its place? It's not evil, it's not cruel, it's just done performing softness for people who mistook it for weakness. Done offering grace where accountability should have been. Done building bridges for people who only showed up with matches. And if that makes you the villain in their story, fine. They can write their version however they want. You're not here to be the misunderstood angel in someone else's fairy tale. You're here to reclaim the story they tried to erase you from completely. You're done shrinking your soul just to fit into rooms that were never built for you in the first place. You walk in different now. Not with arrogance, not with ego. Just this quiet power. Like You don't need to be understood anymore. You're not begging to be seen. You're not out here writing essays to defend your boundaries. If someone gets it, they get it. If they don't, you're still good. And yeah, maybe back then you would have tried harder. You would have sent the paragraph. You would have over-explained your tone, your silence, your triggers, your whole damn existence, just to avoid being labeled difficult. But that version of you had something to prove. This version doesn't. You've seen too much, felt too much, been through too many nights where your thoughts ate you alive while everyone else slept just fine. You've held your breath in rooms that drained your spirit bone dry. You've smiled through betrayal, kept calm in chaos, swallowed your anger like it was your fault for even feeling it. You internalized everything until it started leaking through your body. Your fatigue wasn't just tiredness, it was emotional rot. Your anxiety, that was your nervous system screaming, "This ain't safe, this ain't love." But you stayed. You kept showing up, kept giving your best to people who handed you their bare minimum and called it love. Kept hoping that if you were just good enough, quiet enough, unbothered enough, they'd finally treat you right. Spoiler alert, they never did. And that's not on you. That was never on you. You weren't hard to love. They were just unwilling to love anything that didn't benefit them. You weren't too much. You were just more than they had the capacity to handle. And instead of saying that, they broke you and blamed you for bleeding. But here's what they didn't count on. They didn't expect you to put yourself back together. Not like this. Not piece by piece with fire in your eyes and ice in your tone. Not with your self-worth rebuilt from scratch. No external validation needed. Not with your love intact, just guarded as hell. They didn't expect the silence. They didn't expect the version of you who doesn't argue anymore. You just detach, cut the cord, disappear mid-sentence and sleep like a baby. And when they come back, and they always come back, they won't find the soft version waiting with open arms. They'll find the version who remembers, the one who doesn't forget how much it hurt, the one who smiles without flinching, says, "Hope you're well," and means it, but never opens the door again. Not out of bitterness, not out of spite, out of self-respect, out of peace that's finally too precious to risk. And the craziest part, you're not even mad anymore. You're just clear. Clear on who you are. Clear on what you'll tolerate. Clear on the fact that some people only loved the broken version of you because your healing made them irrelevant. The minute your healing started to get loud, their energy got quiet. Weird, right? You'd think they'd be proud. You'd think they'd clap for your growth, the way you used to celebrate their smallest wins like they were gold medals. But nah. Your evolution exposed everything they weren't doing. Your boundaries made them uncomfortable because it meant they couldn't get away with the same lazy, half-assed effort they used to hand you like it was a gift. You became the mirror, and they hated the reflection. It's almost funny how fast people switch up when they realize they can't manipulate you anymore. You stop tolerating the bare minimum, and suddenly you're acting brand new. You stop laughing at their backhanded comments, and now you're too sensitive. You stop reaching out, and oh, now you're the problem. Nah, you were the pattern break. You were the line in the sand. You were the "I'm not doing this toxic dance anymore" moment they didn't see coming. And yeah, it gets lonely for a bit. That's the part people don't talk about. Healing, growth. It's not always empowering at first. Sometimes it's just quiet. You sit with your thoughts more. You look at old messages differently. You replay conversations with new clarity, and it hits you. Damn, I was really out here begging people to care, begging them to just be decent, and they still couldn't do it. That realization, it stings. It hits you in places you didn't even know could ache. But it also sets you free. Because once you know the truth, once you've seen behind the mask, you can't unsee it. You can't keep pretending that chaos is connection. You can't keep justifying harm just because it came from someone you loved. You start relearning your worth, piece by piece, not from compliments, not from attention, but from solitude, from peace, from realizing your energy doesn't need to be earned. It needs to be respected. You're not the same. You love quieter now, stronger but quieter. You don't overextend anymore. You don't chase. You don't negotiate with red flags dressed up as flaws. If someone can't meet you where you're at, you don't lower yourself. You don't bend backwards, breaking bones just to keep the vibe alive. You've learned to walk away mid-sentence if the energy's off. You've learned that "I don't feel safe here" is reason enough to go. No drama, no closure speeches, just movement. And that's not coldness. That's survival. That's self-respect with teeth. That's the angel in you stepping back while the part they woke up, that devil they built with their own hands, stands guard. They don't get to call it attitude just because you finally stopped accepting disrespect with a smile. You used to laugh things off that hurt you deep. You used to downplay your own pain just to avoid being labeled dramatic or too much. You bit your tongue so many times it started to taste like blood. And still, they had the nerve to act like you were the unstable one. But truth is, they just weren't ready for the version of you that stopped explaining trauma like it was a debate. You're not here to convince anyone that you're worthy. You're not begging for seats at tables that expect you to starve in silence. You walk in and read energy before you even hear words now. You can tell in the first 5 seconds who's real and who just wants to borrow your light till you burn out again. And yeah, maybe that makes you guarded. Maybe it makes you hard to read. But they don't realize that guardrail, that wall, it's built from every single time you let someone close who turned around and cut you with the access you gave them. You don't just trust words anymore. You trust patterns. You watch how people act when you say no. You pay attention to how they respond when you start choosing yourself. Because anyone can love you when you're easy. Anyone can stay when you're always giving. But show them a boundary. Go quiet for a minute to take care of yourself. Suddenly they vanish, or worse, they guilt trip you for pulling back, like you owe them pieces of yourself forever. That part, right there, that's when you know. You learn to stop calling that love. You stopped romanticizing being chosen last as long as you still got chosen. You stopped calling it loyalty when it was really just fear of being alone with your own heartbreak. You know what hits hardest, though? Realizing that the version of you they loved the most was the version who didn't love yourself enough yet. They miss who you were. Not because you were happier, but because you were easier to control. Shh. Before you lean back, before you decide you already know where this is going, feel that pause in your chest. That's the moment right before a trap snaps shut. That's the silence they hoped would distract you, That's where this story starts. You didn't stumble into this by accident. They sent that twin flame with precision, not love, timing, not destiny, deployment. A mirror polished just enough to make you lower your guard. They knew exactly what you were becoming and they panicked. So they didn't attack you head on. No. They wrapped the distraction in poetry, chemistry, synchronicity. They dressed the bait like fate, because brute force never works on someone like you. You've always seen through fists and threats, but emotion? That's where they thought you'd bleed. They thought if they could split your attention, they could split your power. If they could make you look inward long enough, you'd stop watching the exits. They underestimated something fundamental about you. When you look inward, you don't get lost. You go deeper. You don't dissolve. You condense. You don't soften. You sharpen. You are the kind of person who turns mirrors into weapons. See, you live in a paradox they can't model. Saint enough to care. Psychopath enough to cut when necessary. Angelic in your patience. Demonic in your timing. They sent someone to awaken your heart, not realizing your heart isn't a weakness, it's a furnace. They thought distraction would dilute you. Instead, it catalyzed you. Pressure didn't crack you, it forced a phase change. That twin flame was supposed to pull you off your path. Instead, it lit the fuse under your evolution. You felt it, didn't you? That pull, that rush, the sense that something ancient had recognized you. And for a moment, you wondered if this was the missing piece. That's the trick. That's how they get you to pause. But what they didn't know, what they could never know, is that your system doesn't pause. It adapts. You don't fall in love the way other people do. You study patterns. You read silences. You feel beneath words. And when the mask slipped, even slightly, you saw the wiring behind the magic. That's when it turned into a catastrophe for them. Because the moment you realized it wasn't destiny, but design, you didn't collapse. You recalibrated. You let the illusion run just long enough to learn from it. You extracted data from emotion. You harvested insight from attachment. You turned heartbreak into reconnaissance. While they were congratulating themselves for slowing you down, you were mapping the entire network. Who sent them? Why now? What they feared you were about to do. They thought they were playing chess. You were playing terrain. Here's the part that really breaks them. You didn't get bitter. You didn't spiral. You didn't seek revenge in obvious ways. You absorbed it. You integrated it. You became more complex, more unreadable. You walked away with a deeper understanding of human leverage, emotional warfare, and your own thresholds. They wanted you softer. You came out colder where it counts and warmer where it matters. That combination terrifies systems built on predictability. You see, unpredictability isn't chaos when you control it. It's power. And you learned how to wield it in the fire they handed you. You learned how quickly people reveal themselves when intimacy is introduced. You learned how desire can be used as a leash, and how easily it snaps when you stop needing it. You learned that the quickest way to see someone's true agenda is to give them access to your inner world and watch what they try to rearrange. They sent a twin flame to distract you, but flames don't distract steel. They temper it. You didn't lose time. You gained density. You didn't lose focus. You gained range. You didn't lose yourself. You met a version of yourself that doesn't flinch at emotional manipulation anymore. A version that understands love without being owned by it. A version that can stand in connection without surrendering command. Now look at the fallout. The silence where messages used to be strategic. The confusion where confidence used to sit. the sudden scrambling to understand why you didn't shatter the way you were supposed to. They can't explain it to each other without admitting what you are. And they hate admissions, because admissions become records, and records become patterns, and patterns point back to you. You're not the person they can distract anymore. You're the anomaly they created by trying. This is the duality they never account for. You can feel deeply and still walk away clean. You can love without attachment. You can connect without dependency. You can stare into the promise of salvation and choose evolution instead. That's not coldness. That's mastery. That's what happens when pain doesn't break you. It teaches you. So let them whisper about what went wrong. Let them reframe the story so they don't have to face the truth. The truth is simpler and far more dangerous. The distraction backfired. The mirror reflected too much. The flame burned the wrong direction, and now you move differently, quieter, heavier, like someone who has seen behind the curtain and decided not to announce it. They wanted you tangled. You came out untouchable. And the next time they think about sending anything your way, love, chaos, temptation, fear, they'll hesitate. Because the last time they tried to distract you, they didn't slow you down. They triggered a catastrophe they still don't know how to contain. Good. Stay right here. Don't rush past this feeling, because this is where the real damage was done. They're replaying it now, you know, over and over. The moment they realized you didn't crumble. The moment they noticed you weren't chasing, weren't begging, weren't unraveling the way the script said you would. That's when panic crept in, quiet panic. The kind that doesn't scream but corrodes. The kind that keeps people awake at night, staring at ceilings, whispering, "That wasn't supposed to happen." Because here's what they don't understand about you. You don't process pain like a victim. You process it like a weapon system. Every emotional spike becomes data. Every betrayal becomes calibration. Every false intimacy sharpens your perception. While others drown in confusion, you come out with clarity so sharp it cuts through entire narratives. They thought the twin flame would fracture you, split your focus, scatter your energy, soften your edges. What actually happened was worse for them, much worse. You learned how easily emotions can be engineered, how timing can simulate destiny, how chemistry can be manufactured when someone studies your frequency long enough. That knowledge alone already made you more dangerous than before. But then came the deeper shift. You stopped romanticizing chaos. You stopped confusing intensity with truth. You stopped mistaking resonance for alignment. That's when you crossed a line most people never even see. You stepped out of the illusion while still understanding it. You can walk through emotional fire now without needing to be consumed by it. You can recognize the spell without announcing that you've broken it. And that's terrifying to anyone who relies on distraction as a control mechanism. You see, systems don't fear rage. They can predict rage. They can redirect it. They can exploit it. What they fear is detachment with memory. Someone who remembers everything but no longer reacts the way they're expected to. Someone who doesn't explode, just adjusts. Someone who doesn't seek closure, just moves on with upgraded awareness. That's you now. They wanted you tangled in longing. Instead, you walked away, understanding leverage. They wanted you obsessed with what could have been. Instead, you became obsessed with how it was built. They wanted you emotionally compromised. Instead, you became emotionally sovereign. And here's the cruel irony, the part that really twists the knife. They accidentally accelerated you. The distraction forced you to confront your own depths faster than comfort ever would. You met your shadow. You recognized your hunger. You saw how easily you could disappear into someone else if you chose to. And instead of being afraid of that power, you mastered it. That's the paradox they never anticipate. You can be vulnerable without being weak, open without being owned, intimate without being controllable. You can let someone close and still keep command of yourself. That alone makes you unreadable to anyone operating on manipulation and scripts. Now they're left guessing. Was it real? Did you care? Did you know the whole time? Are you hurt? Are you angry? Are you planning something? And the silence from you, the calm, unbothered forward motion, that silence is louder than any confrontation could ever be. It forces them to sit with uncertainty. It forces them to question their intelligence. It forces them to wonder if you saw them coming before they even made the move. Because the truth is, you did feel it. Early, subtle, a misalignment in the magic, a glitch in the synchronicity, a moment where the warmth didn't quite match the words. And instead of ignoring it like most people do, you logged it, you watched, you waited, you let them reveal themselves completely. Predators hate mirrors that watch back. You didn't expose them, you didn't need to. You let reality do the work. You let distance speak. You let your absence collapse the illusion they were standing on. And now, without you feeding the fantasy, everything looks different, hollow, over-designed, obvious. That's when the catastrophe fully unfolded, because now you're moving again, but not as the same person. You're quieter, but not smaller, slower, but heavier. There's a gravity to you now that pulls attention without effort. People feel it before they understand it. Conversations shift when you enter rooms. Eyes linger, energy recalibrates. And somewhere, the people who thought they could derail you are realizing something horrifying. You didn't lose anything. You gained immunity. You can't be distracted the same way anymore. You can't be seduced by illusions you've already dissected. You can't be emotionally hijacked by patterns you've already survived. You've seen the trick from the inside. You know how it feels. You know how it works. And you walked out with your identity intact. That's not heartbreak. That's initiation. So let them call it a failed connection. Let them downplay it as coincidence, bad timing, misunderstanding. They have to. Because admitting the truth would mean admitting they miscalculated you at a fundamental level. They sent a flame to burn you and discovered you're not wood. You're the thing fire answers to. And now comes the part they never plan for. The aftermath. The quiet stretch after the noise dies, after the illusion collapses, after the emotional smoke clears and you're standing there, unchanged at the core, but altered everywhere else. This is where the real evolution locks in. Because once you've seen how distraction is engineered, you stop blaming yourself for feeling it. You stop asking, why did I fall for that? And start asking, what did that reveal? That shift alone separates survivors from architects. Victims replay pain. Architects extract blueprints. You learn something critical about yourself. You don't lose yourself easily. You can flirt with the edge of obsession, dance with intensity, stare into emotional fire, and still pull back with your identity intact. That terrifies people who rely on emotional collapse as leverage. They expect guilt. They expect confusion. They expect dependency. What they got instead was awareness. You didn't break when the illusion cracked. You didn't scramble to fix it. You didn't chase closure. You let it die naturally, like a controlled burn. And in that moment, you crossed into a different category of human. one they don't know how to label, too self-aware to manipulate, too emotionally intelligent to gaslight, too grounded to derail. That's why the catastrophe didn't explode outward. It imploded inward, on them. Because when you walked away without drama, without begging, without retaliation, you left a vacuum. And vacuums don't stay empty. They fill with doubt, with second-guessing, with late-night replays and internal interrogations. They start asking themselves questions you've already answered. Did they see through me? Were they always ahead? Was that calm real or calculated? And here's the brutal truth they'll never admit out loud. Your restraint scared them more than your rage ever could. Rage is noisy. Rage confirms engagement. Rage means they still matter. Your silence, your composure, your forward motion. That tells them they failed to access your core. You didn't just resist the distraction, you metabolized it. Now your nervous system is different. You don't spike the same way. You don't attach the same way. You don't get hypnotized by intensity or flattery or perfectly timed affection. You've learned the difference between resonance and relevance, between chemistry and alignment, between someone who feels familiar and someone who actually belongs in your future. That lesson alone would have taken most people years of damage to learn. You learned it in one controlled burn. And here's where the duality sharpens. The part that makes you genuinely dangerous to predictable systems. You didn't become colder. You became cleaner. Your standards didn't harden into walls. They refined into filters. You're still capable of deep connection, but now it has to pass through awareness first. That means the next person who gets close won't be there by accident. They won't be able to slip past your intuition wearing poetry and timing. They'll have to meet you where you are, centered, sovereign, unhooked from illusion. That's not romantic weakness. That's emotional dominance. And somewhere in the background, the people who thought they could steer you are realizing something else too. The move didn't just fail. It exposed them. It showed you how desperation disguises itself as intimacy, how control masquerades as concern, how distraction wears the costume of destiny when fear is pulling the strings. They wanted you softer. You became sharper. They wanted you slower. You became more deliberate. They wanted you scattered. You became condensed. Condensed power is what bends outcomes. You don't announce this transformation. You don't need to. It shows up in how you move now, in how little you explain, in how quickly you disengage from nonsense, in how you no longer romanticize chaos just because it feels alive. You've tasted intensity. You've seen its tricks, and you've chosen depth instead. That's why the catastrophe keeps unfolding long after the moment passed. Because the real consequence wasn't emotional, it was strategic. You exited that experience with a higher resolution understanding of human behavior. You can spot bait faster. You can sense manipulation earlier. You can feel when something is trying to pull you off center instead of forward. And once you have that, you don't go back. They sent a distraction and triggered an upgrade. They sent a mirror and revealed your autonomy. They sent a flame and forged something that doesn't burn the same way anymore. So stand in that. Don't rush to fill the space. Don't apologize for your clarity. Don't dull the edge you earned just to make others comfortable. You didn't lose anything in that encounter. You shed what could have slowed you later. And now, whether they admit it or not, they know something went very wrong. Because you didn't fall, you didn't fracture, you didn't fade. You walked through the distraction and came out with command. and that's the kind of catastrophe they never recover from. And there's another layer they still haven't clocked yet. The quietest one, the most lethal one. The part where you didn't just recover from the distraction. You redefined what distraction even means. Because after that experience, nothing hits you the same way anymore. The hooks don't sink as deep. The emotional spikes don't hijack your thinking. The old triggers that once pulled your attention sideways now register as noise. You feel them, but they don't own you. You observe them the way a sniper observes wind, acknowledged, measured, accounted for. That's when you became truly dangerous. See, most people think power looks loud, dramatic, reactive. But the real shift happens when you stop being pulled by anything that isn't aligned with your direction, when desire stops steering you, when longing stops clouding you, when loneliness stops bargaining on your behalf. That's when control returns to its rightful place, inside you. They never expected that outcome. They expected attachment, emotional entanglement, delays, hesitation. What they got instead was detachment with memory. You remember everything, but you're no longer emotionally trapped inside it. That combination is rare. That combination rewrites the board. Now, when someone approaches you, you don't rush to interpret meaning. You don't inflate moments into mythology. You don't mistake chemistry for fate. You let patterns reveal themselves over time. You let consistency speak louder than intensity. You let actions outpace words. And that patience makes manipulators nervous. Because manipulators need urgency. They need emotional acceleration. They need you to feel like something will be lost if you don't act now. You don't feel that anymore. You know that anything real can survive time. Anything engineered collapses under it. That's why the catastrophe keeps spreading in silence. They can feel the shift when they think about you. Conversations about you feel heavier now, less certain. The story they told themselves doesn't sit right anymore. Because you didn't react the way characters in their past always did. You didn't spiral. You didn't beg for meaning. You didn't cling to the illusion. You stepped back and watched the architecture fall. And here's the part that really messes with them. You didn't even need to expose anyone. You didn't have to accuse. You didn't have to confront. You didn't have to win anything publicly. You let reality do the job. You let absence reveal what presence was masking. That's mastery. Now your energy does something different when you enter spaces. It doesn't seek validation. It doesn't scan for approval. It doesn't hunger to be chosen. It selects. People feel that. They may not know how to name it, but they feel it in their bodies. Conversations tighten. Masks slip sooner. Performances shorten. Because when someone no longer needs anything from you emotionally, they become the most honest mirror you'll ever face. You've crossed into a state where attraction no longer runs the show. Alignment does, and alignment is ruthless. It doesn't negotiate with fantasy. It doesn't compromise with confusion. It either fits or it doesn't. That's why this wasn't heartbreak. It was a line you crossed. Before, distraction could reroute you. Now it only reveals intent. Before, emotional intensity could slow you. Now it accelerates your discernment. Before, connection could pull you off-center. Now it has to meet you there, or it dissolves. They tried to soften you with emotion, and instead created someone who understands emotional warfare at a cellular level. Someone who can feel deeply without losing direction. Someone who can love without surrendering authority over their life. That's not numbness, that's evolution. So when you feel that calm now, don't misinterpret it as emptiness. It's density, It's composure earned under pressure. It's the stillness of someone who has seen behind the curtain and decided not to live in the illusion anymore. They sent a distraction to delay your path. They accidentally cleared it. They sent a flame to consume your focus. They forged a version of you that doesn't burn. They tried to pull you sideways. You came back aligned. And now, whether they ever admit it or not, they know the truth. The move didn't just fail. It changed the rules around you. You don't move the way you used to. You don't react the way you used to. You don't need the way you used to. You walk like someone who understands leverage. You listen like someone who hears subtext. You choose like someone who's already seen what distraction costs. And that's the kind of catastrophe that echoes long after the moment is gone.